after launching your brand, it's not just a brand, it's your identity now. So people would directly or indirectly judge you according to the brand. So be ready to kill all your anxiety, all your insecurities to be in person, because if you don't kill it, the opportunity won't come. Whenever I was saying, they were writing down the notes like a 14-year-old boy is telling to a 40-year-old man. That feeling, I got to know that if you want to win a person, you have to win them on a personal touch. An entrepreneur thinks it's only about the business, but to handle that business, you first need to remake yourself first. My entrepreneurship life, if you jot it down to a certain small aspect, there was only one word that can redefine is curious. If you're being curious, and if you're being that curious to solve the problem or to just know what the thing exactly is, half of the answers are clear. Midas gave me language, the language for business, the language for people matching, and the language to understand the problems and executing towards it.
You were always on some sort of a run for yourself, and I think that's what's inspiring about this entire journey of launching Energy. And I'm glad that for you, Midas found the person in you. A very warm welcome to each one of you for watching Insights with Midas. Today is a very special guest for this particular episode. It's Vansh Pardeshi, the founder of Energy, and for me, the poster boy of Midas. You won't believe the journey that he's been through, and it's a very exciting one. For all those young entrepreneurs out there, this is a must watch. If you all do watch till the end, trust me, there'll be a lot of notes that you would have and a lot of questions and a lot of comments to pass on to this young entrepreneur. Please enjoy this episode and please subscribe, like and comment. Hi Vansh, you have no idea how excited I am to do this. I can't believe that a year and a half back, you were here at Midas trying to really create your own identity, your own idea. And today we've seen your brand launch on social media, on all the platforms that you really wished it to be. And this is the right step in the right direction to have called you, because we are so proud of you. To really give the audience a background, I would first start by asking that, Vansh, who were you before this entire journey began for you?
You talking about entrepreneurship part of the thing?
Yes.
So ma'am, I'll carry you throughout my life how entrepreneurship was began, because the word was embedded in me, I don't know, naturally throughout my life. So I come from a background, my dad is a renowned name in construction and building materials in the city where I live in. I was portrayed the vision that we come from a very big family, and I used to love it, but also I used to somewhere hate it, because in school times, whenever teacher used to ask everyone what you want to become, my hand used to straight up go, and I used to say entrepreneur, and half of the time like no one knew that word in like 2015 or 2016 something. So at that time, fellow friends like who were sitting next to me used to say, "Teko to kya tere baap ke paise pe jeena hai." That line is still embedded in my prefrontal cortex. If I say, I every time remember that line and work according to it to prove myself who I am. When I started my I'll carry you throughout like how entrepreneurship was born. I always was fond of reading books. At the age of 14, my first book that I ever purchased from Amazon, and I have a YouTube video of that too, that was Intelligent Investor from Benjamin Franklin. Never understood a page till now, but I somehow managed to read 250 pages of that. And that time I got to know about these extensive hard words, CPM, CFM, ROI, everything about these acronyms that are like heavily plated on entrepreneurs' head. So I learned those acronyms from that. Then the entrepreneurship kida was always there in me. So my first ever startup idea was an alcohol delivery startup. That was when I was 14, I saw Living Liquids doing the same in Mumbai, and I thought this can be done over here. It's just need 3 delivery boys and just basic firmware at that time. So that time I figured a way out like how we can do it.
How old were you then?
I was 14. I was 14.
Okay.
So I only knew that if I want to connect with some or the other place in this world, there we always have a phone with us. So I contacted excise department at that time, called them and asked them straightly. And that time I got to know that this is very, very illegal. So that time, after that idea, I understood about the legal tangles and legal importance in every business that you take the step in. Then my second idea was when I used to work in hotels. No, second idea was a BNPL platform, buy now pay later platform, that I seriously worked for 1.5 years. That time when I didn't knew zero, I knew zero things about startup. I used to watch Y Combinator lectures of how to start a startup. I somehow managed to get some knowledge from that, and from that knowledge I started pitching it to people on LinkedIn. I almost pitched 200 300 Indian banking employees who were there at that time, and no one actually replied. Then I came to know about there's a company named Afterpay that was successful in Australia. Their parent company was in Indonesia. I found out the CFO of them. Jafar Jafro was the name, and Benjamin was the second guy's name. I messaged them. They somehow agreed to be on a Google Meet. At that time, I used to be on a Google Meet with this big hairs on my head, and used to be on a T-shirt, and they used to be on formals. And at that time, when I used to communicate with them about these problems and startups, they looked at me as an entrepreneur, not as a kid talking to them. Whenever I was saying, they were writing down the notes like a 14-year-old boy is telling to a 40-year-old man. That feeling, I got to know that if you want to win a person, you have to win them on a personal touch. Because these all things doesn't matter at the end. What matters is how the person perceives you at the first time when they see you. So at that time, I got to know about coming back to the BNPL journey. I managed to reach out as many people as want, but no one helped. And at that time, at the end, it came out to be if you want to own an NBFC platform, you have to own like 2 crores of net owned assets at that time to start an NBFC from RBI guidelines. That time I just switched on to the idea like ये नहीं हो सकता अपने से 1.5 साल हो गए we working on that. I stopped working. Then in hospitality, I got an idea about rings. So whenever we used to give key cards to the guests, that was so boring. Came with a plastic encroachment. It's just something that we can never use. So my idea was reimagine that ring in a key. That key in a ring. That ring would be rebranded towards the hotel perspective. That ring just cost 30 rupees to make with a basic Arduino and RFID technology. Wherever you go, whatever you purchase, you don't have to pay them at the first place. Even if you put out something from a minibar, that ring has the reader, and the minibar fridge has the sensors to give the signals that this product is out from that. So that helps the consumers to accumulate their credit and pay at the end. So that increases the habit of consumption at the place of staying.
Right.
So this was the idea. I pitched it to somewhere, still failed. Then fourth idea, this entrepreneurial thing, when it came, my journey was like when COVID hit, I again got into fond of reading books. I've read almost every book on personal development and entrepreneurship, and to be very honest, I don't recall a single page from them. If they do work, yes, they do somehow work, but not exactly. So entrepreneurship in my life came always from a perspective of learning, reiterating and rebuilding again and pivoting again and again. So that was all about my entrepreneurship life. If you jot it down to a certain small aspect, there was only one word that can redefine is curious. If you're being curious, and if you're being that curious to solve the problem or to just know what the thing exactly is, half of the answers are clear. And it's just the actions that I took with the curiosity that helped me reach where I am and what I'm doing.
Amazing. So, one thing you picked up from your father since you were very young, since we are talking about your days before NOC, I want to know what was that one observation that kept hitting you back, that this is what my dad is all about.
My dad, to be explained in one word, would be patience, ma'am. When the whole market was saying that this won't work, he still believes that this would work, and it eventually would some other day it would work. With my dad, the learning was much bigger. Learning was the pressure of responsibility when a person gets hit by it. Because being the only elder brother, taking care of 4 younger sisters and 3 kids, and market against it with all the big odds, less cash and everything, it's still fighting day by day and showing up with the same energy. So that's what I learned from my dad, and keeping patience and what you believe, because nothing is under our control.
And you know, the interesting part about your background, Vansh, is that your father's in business.
Yeah.
You have two elder brothers.
Yes.
One is obviously in the business.
Yes.
The second one is pursuing his own dream, and you're off doing something else.
Yes.
Tell me what you've learned from your brothers.
From my brothers, my eldest brother Yash. So from his experience, I learned where he started a distributor firm and became the biggest distributor for Bosch wipers and batteries in Maharashtra and Goa. It was doing very well, and one sudden day there was a co-founder conflict and the business dropped and business just plummeted. Yeah. So from him I understood how to manage people, because he's very good in to like convince people, उनको उनके बाटली में उतारने को उसको अच्छे से आता है. So from him I learned this, and like the importance of co-founders and the importance of communicating with them and making their message and your expectations clear. I learned from him, and from my brother Raj. He has spent all his life in making and creating things. So I have learned the importance of creativity and believing in themselves. Being his first big project, he just believed in himself. I don't know how it would work. He's just believing in the actions, and it turned out to be good. And at the end, from both these experiences, I just know that it's just business, and your working pattern is thinking the things to fall in place. Because somewhere the things won't fall into place, and it would jot it down, and then you'll rebuild it. So it's like building a block. So one piece gets missed out, you put another piece. So that's how I learned from my brothers. Like small steps, those boring steps that you take every day would lead to your success.
So one more thing that I've always thought about, because I've probably known each of them very well. How does a house with so many men have such emotionally sound people? Because whoever I've known in your family are the warmest people you'll meet. So where does that energy come from? Because it's very rare to have so many men in the house but still be so emotionally sound.
It all comes from my dad, ma'am, to be very honest. My dad only tells us 2-3 things that we should take care of. First is being empathetic always, not to always think about yourself first, or it's also about the person with you are working with. Second is believing in people and talking to people nicely, whoever they are, like lower level, lower wages workers, or even the higher paying professionals in your company. You should treat everyone the same, because that teaches who the real person is.
True.
Be a good person first, and everything would come into your place.
Sure.
So that's how, like, our dad taught us to be nice with everyone, to talk with the same tone you talk with, to the every class laborers. And third thing would be being empathetic. That I said is like putting yourself in front, like the someone else's shoe, like how they are feeling. So that helps. Like that solves half of the problems between the human connections. So that's what I would say on.
So humility has always been the key of all of this for you.
Yes, humility and empathetic. Amazing. Being empathetic and being humiliated, because this all startups money is just a tag behind the person. First, like, be a person, but the person would be valued first before the tags.
No, so that's what I wanted from you. And one more observation again, which is brilliant. Is that you come from a very big family business, yet you chose your own path, yet you're doing a startup, and yet you are someone who wants to be highly independent in your own way. So it's a very interesting format, because either most students will end up being in startups, or they will want to do their family business. Within family business, there's a lot of comfort zone also.
Yes.
I'll share a very interesting fact with you, Vansh, that almost 60% of the students, when they join Midas, they want to do their own startup. And they all come from family business. Yeah, you know, most students are from family businesses.
Yes.
By the end of the program, they've all obviously converted, saying, "मैं family business join करूँगा."
Yes.
There are two reasons. One, they definitely see a lot of potential in their own family businesses. And why should they start from scratch. They can build so much out of what has been there. And second, of course, they realize the importance of how hard their families work to get there also.
Yeah.
So whatever it is, the interesting part is you chose the difficult path. It's not easy to get there, and let's get to that story of it. That can we know this entire energy journey for you?
So I'll come to energy in the second part of this conversation, ma'am. You just mentioned ki, choosing your own path and believing this thing. So talking about my story, when this thing used to be in my mind when I joined hospitality. So one day I got to know about ODCs. So people from our colleagues were working in ODC. So what the heck is ODC? So that's outdoor catering, where you work for a day, you get for an 8-hour shift you get 500 rupees,
Right.
and that shift could include anything. That could include washing toilet, washing dishes. It could include the work of juice boys and waiter boys, because
Just 500 rupees.
just 500 rupees for 8 hours. It can go to 11 or 12 hours, then fight with the TL for the payment for 100 or 150 rupees.
God.
So that was the scenario. I chose it purposely because I wanted to know what I could do, what meri laiki kya hai. The thing was, first the question I asked was like what I am. I want to be at this ground level. So when I joined it, I don't know what is the exact reason, but for 1.5 years I've completed 450 plus ODCs every day without taking any Sundays, because Sundays were not a holiday for us.
Yeah.
Every day I used to be in somewhere other places in Pune or Mumbai. I used to work in ODCs, so that included all the jobs. In that process, I got to know like कि क्या लगता है काम के लिए, what is the thing, because I wanted to learn the system first, what it takes. So it built the discipline in me. And coming back to the question, how energy was born, when I used to do this 14-hour, 16-hour everyday shift, and I used to come back to college. I never visited college, but गलती से आ गया तो like would be like when we used to visit college, we were like dead. We were almost dead. And after lack of sleep, the only option to awaken yourself is intaking with caffeine. And caffeine at that time, for me being a student of earning 500 a day, it only came in two options, coffee or energy drinks. But coffee in our canteen, coffee never worked, that 20 rupee coffee, because there's a 2 rupee Nescafe sachet.
Correct.
That doesn't have enough caffeine to hit you up. And then energy drinks. But energy drinks, when I used to consume, it never used to make me feel good. It used to be sugary loaded, give me bloating issues. Coffee give me stomach issues. So one fine day, I was genuinely with a few of my friends. We were chit chatting, and I was chewing a gum just for an impulse thing, and I took a sip of energy drink. And that day, I thought, why cannot be energy in a gum? So I thought, why cannot be? So I was just curious. I searched it for it. There was no one. That entrepreneurship kid hit me again that time. 1 week later, I left my job, and I'll donate myself to this idea, and I'll work relentlessly. So that's how, like, one problem, because if you look at the equation, every business solution or entrepreneurship idea comes with a problem, and that problem multiplies by the number of use cases that you deal with it every day.
Correct.
So also with caffeine, it's like almost every day that the person consumes caffeine. So my chances of winning there was big. And I thought, like, it's an everyday problem. I managed to ask 30-40 students from my batch, like, how this is. Everyone said, oh, this is a crazy idea. That crazy idea hit me hard, and I left my job, started working on that. So that's how the first idea of like energy was born. That time that was not energy, that was zeal. Right. So that's how it was born. I chewed a gum and took a sip of energy drink and just blinked up.
So I want to again, you said curiosity was the key in you.
Yeah.
You definitely had huge observation skills.
Yes.
Post which you definitely also focused on solving a problem.
Yes.
And through solving a problem, you were looking at possible solutions to it. And I think that's the major issue with a lot of people who are out there trying to start their startups.
Yes.
They are only looking at the solution part of it. They are not actually answering what they are trying to solve.
Yeah.
And when you're not doing that,
Yeah.
you end up not creating the right business either.
Yes.
So I am very confidently saying that you were definitely solving a problem because you know what it was.
Yes.
And the why was very clear for you.
Yes.
Perfect. So this journey of, hitting the idea, then you started thinking of, so you quit your job, the bartending bit of the journey was over. Then was a time when you started research on this particular thing.
Yes.
All right. Then,
So, talking about my Midas days, why it is relevant to my past days, Parag sir used to always tell us ki things are not in your control. So make a list down of the things like what are in your control and what are not in your control. What do you have? Because they did once we did an activity of Parag sir gave us an activity like you have 1 lakh and you have 1 crore, separated us in 2 groups. Create a restaurant that would be aesthetically pleasing, solving a problem and targeting to cuisine, and you make it. And for 1 lakh, the money was enough for the per group, and for 1 crore, the money wasn't enough. So
Correct.
that was the thing. So money problems are always there for छोटे scale वाला या बड़े scale वाला. Money problem will always be there. But in that time, what was in my control, I thought, and I thought what resources I had. So I started researching. Researching means it's just going to Google and there was no data. So I went to Google Scholar, I went to Microsoft Scholar and list down all the patents which were available at that time, all the patents on making process of gum, on caffeine effect, the caffeine scientific absorption, the chemical structure, everything I learned in the 3.5 months. 3.5 months was every day 10 hours and it was out of interest. Again, dopamine was all high because I would be rewarded by that thing. I used to study it and so embedded in my mind. Then I thought ki how we will figure it out and we want to take the trials. So I then contacted the raw material guy. I want caffeine, this thing. Search in India might say do nada. Still, caffeine is a drug and we didn't have a drug license. So I somehow managed to do it in some jugaad, found the way out of bringing caffeine to my town. Got the caffeine, got the raw materials, now a place of lab. So place of lab, there was one of my friend named Om Singh. So Om never used to visit college. He was a B.Pharm student, and he was a complete mess over there. So I contacted him कि भाई ये है, you have to do it. So he said अच्छा ये है वो है. So he contacted his college teacher. College teacher rejected it. बोला let me be there. I'll come and I'll pitch to her. And in that only pitch, she just agreed. She was out of spirit. Ki, you are being an entrepreneur. I'm definitely able to help. So Swami Vivekanand College actually let down their whole lab just for my use and also introduced me to 3 MPharm students with whom I for next 4 months I researched.
Yeah.
They also didn't know what to do. I also didn't know what to do. What we were making is just reading and experimenting, mixing solutions and mixing these things. We somehow managed to get the base over there. The effectiveness part was cleared. And at that time, why I believed in this idea was like when I used to come back to train, that college was in Kurla. I used to live in Kalyan and it was 1 hour away. So I used to go standing in evening, and whenever I used to go, I used to be like, and that caffeine used to hit me at that time, and this thing is crazy. This thing would work. So that hit me. These experiences hit me, and from there I contacted these college. That college never worked, so I strictly said no. Then I came to Midas. Then after Midas, controlling uncontrollables and uncontrollables, I directly pitched to Shivaji College and then D.Y. Patel College of Pharmacy. And from D.Y. Patel of College of Pharmacy, I was not invited. I bought there was a conference fest over there. How I can connect to the top ones over there. There was a conference. I bought a VIP pass for 9,000. That was the only money I had for the next 15 days. And visited there. Out of 24 guys, there was like in the first row, there was Cipla CEO, Dr. Reddy CEO. They're so big guys. And the students were around us. And in the coffee table, I was just like patla, like 23-year-old. What is this guy doing? And I'm communicating and networking with everyone. And then I pitched to D.Y. Patel College dean over there. So he really loved the idea, and then how it became, and that was also plotted. No, I wasn't called for the entire team over there, entire time over there. Who is this guy? And last for the feedback, one of the guys saw from the stage, let this guy speak some words. And I got on the stage and I gave a speech like a 2-minute speech. I still don't remember what I gave, but I gave, and I got a standing ovation of 850 plus people in that. And that was like, at that time, it was like so easy to influence people. It's just curating some few words. So these were the experiences that I figured my own way out, curated my own road. Because there's like in this journey, there was everything was finding, nothing was readily available. If you go to different industries, you have data, plenty of data available. But in our industry, there's no data. No one has researched and no one has done it. So we have to find the way.
Correct.
So that's how the curiosity path went on to, and how I made the product. So D.Y. Patel helped us to make shape. Then we found out on the commercial batch, Pura India Guma, there was no manufacturers. Only 4-5 manufacturers for gums. Those were not interested in this thing. Then for 9 months, I pitched to Fortin Pharma, who was a parent company for Neurogam. They just rejected it, and one fine day I never pick up the calls. A random call, I picked a call, and he said, "I'm from Fortin Pharma. हमको ऐसा project आया था." I went next day and pitched it to for a complete month. They were saying no, इतना छोटा scale नहीं है. But then somehow managed to crack the deal. So that's how from idea to commercialization it took it 2.5 years. In this 2.5 years, it was a lot of breakdowns, lot of mistakes. First of all, mistakes, breakdowns, and through that learned and executed at the right time. This was all about it, ma'am.
Amazing. So, right from the curiosity bit to understanding that there is a market to solving a problem, people often forget to research. They find it the most boring task, but it is the most important task. So, there was a right time to research bhi kiya.
Yes.
After research, you definitely बेझिझक went and pitched your idea to people. जिसको पकड़ा उसको पकड़ा. So you broke the norm that you don't need crores of rupees
Yes.
to launch a business.
Yes, yes.
You did what you could in the bare minimum that you had. बेशर्मों की तरह जहाँ बेच सका वहाँ बेचा. Because I still remember D.Y. Patil का जब हुआ था. I mean, you were obviously at Midas and I was the first one to get a call when you got down and you said that, मैम मैंने 2 मिनट बाद के मेरे को स्टैंडिंग ओवेशन मिला है एंड पीपल हैव बॉट द आइडिया एंड द टीम इज रेडी टू एक्चुअली क्रिएट दिस फॉर यू एंड आई वाज equally surprised. So you used LinkedIn in a very, very strong fashion at that point. Something, can you share what you used to do? Just randomly going on LinkedIn, क्या करता था तू?
This thing was, it was for example, on LinkedIn or networking, if I part, so it's just, yes, there is a first impression part where the first person would go and perceive you as. But ma'am, more than that, how you communicate and how you go to that person matters a lot. So whenever I used to curate a message for the same person, so I used to be like such big dreams and such big words towards my age, because I knew till 24 I have this ability to play on my age.
Yeah.
If your age is low and your ambitions are high, people like bilaterally get curious about you, and they would break it down later. So that's the framework that I used. It's like till 22 I have this time that I'll play on my age, I'll be vague, and I'll make them prove in the first meeting. So when I used to message them, it's just this framework ki message that's so strong कि the person should communicate, so person should convert within reading the 3-4 lines. Amazing. So it was all about those 4-line message.
Amazing, amazing. And you build a strong network through LinkedIn. You reached out to the right people, and I also know for a fact that you never shied away from doing that. So I think that was a very big takeaway for even the peers that were around you, that यार ये अपने हिसाब से जिसको कनेक्ट करना है कर रहा है. Now coming to a part which is probably something I would want to definitely know. How has Midas influenced this entire journey of entrepreneurship for you?
Okay. So you better to remember this, ma'am, how I came to you first. First time when like I was really scattered and I was really confused what to do, because I only had 2 things, a raw product idea and some formulations that I read. But how to commercialize it, how to do it, I didn't know. I have read books, but that framework real time mein matter nahi karte. So I was in Nepal and just randomly I thought ki what is this Midas, I'll put the place in. I filled the registration form, got the call from Shiva sir. Shiva sir said, "Hi, I'm Shiva from Midas School of Entrepreneurship. You want to join?" So directly I was like on 9th cloud, like I have read 400 plus books. I don't know, I don't need this this learning, theoretical learning. I only want to join in the incubation phase, where I want to learn to execute. So is there any other option that I can do it? So at that time he sent me an article. So he called me over here and he said once visit. So I thought, why cannot it be? So I visited once and it was like, I loved the vibe of Midas. It was so quiet and it was like you go at that place and that place makes you feel something. I came over here. There was what was the test name? CTPR test I gave. CTPR test I gave, and in that test it was some random questions that didn't matter a lot for me. But when the results came out and I first had a Google Meet with you, I remember You just jotted down 10, 20 different problems in just one sentence. Like, this is the problem that you're facing, this is what you're doing, you're not being good in your chores. And that chores, I didn't knew that working and being clean would matter in the discipline. That time I was like flabbergasted, like these are simple things that I still don't know. And I'm genuinely like interested in doing this. And that's how I joined Midas. And then when I joined Midas, this place was like complete learning process where I learned first about people matching, understanding people and working in team, because I never worked in team. I only believed in my theoretical learnings and I only worked alone. Over here at the first phase, till the first transit, where you connect with the people, you share your own fears and worries and your strengths and weaknesses. The person also get, and you fill the gap where the communication is by your own self, because people don't know about themselves much.
True.
To be very honest, if I did this in DY Patil when I was giving lecture, when there were debate discussions on the brands, what I did was I picked up one guy, tell me about yourself. So he was just like in breaking parting, he just took 3.5 minutes and gave a very vague description. But when you do that with some other student, ki this is your friend, tell something about him, he better knows about himself.
Yeah.
So the person doesn't know about themselves first.
Yeah.
So that was the problem that hit me, and you made me realize that you should know yourself first. So that was the main thing that Midas changed my mindset, Midas changed my thinking. Midas gave me language, the language for business, the language for people matching, and the language to understand the problems and executing towards it. For example, the observation. Now I observe things differently. If I observe this mic, I'll think like, where is this made, where you can source it from, what's the cost pricing, everything. That mindset helped, Midas helped a lot in that thing. Where I worked in team, then I communicated with the team. The problems was solved much easier. Where there were 20 other brains on the problem even created more problems. But that one problems underlied some small opportunity. That all those brainstorming sessions when we used to do as a team, that helped me rebuild my thesis from the ground level. So Midas, for one word, if I say, would give you a map, but that map doesn't make you move. Your steps and your sprinting style would make the move of how to go through that journey. Beautiful. So the Midas is just one word. This is the thing. Like, it's just changed me completely from a personal angle. Because an entrepreneur thinks it's only about the business, but to handle that business, you first need to remake yourself first. So that's what the changing and turning point for me was, ma'am.
Beautiful. And again, like, I would love to share one of the conversations that we just had before the shoot. That I have seen you go through a lot of. I mean, this all sounds amazing. That energy is launched and you done all of this, but I still remember a few nights that you've had sleepless. Like, I remember a stretch of a month when you couldn't sleep at all, and you had called me at 2:30 in the morning and said, नहीं हो रहा है मेरे को, I can't believe what is happening. And we had like a half an hour conversation, and I think 4 o'clock our security guard called me saying Vansh इधर आया हुआ है. So I said ठीक है उसको आने दो, and I just checked the camera, and till I think about 7 in the morning you were on the whiteboard.
Yeah.
And post which you started sleeping again. I am amazed with the fact that you did not give up. Okay, and you fought your fears. You fought for a lot of things that were not working out. Whether it was the pressure of building something, the pressure of achieving something, you were always on some sort of a run for yourself. And I think that's what's inspiring about this entire journey of launching energy. And I'm glad that for you, sort of, Midas found the person in you, because it's amazing that today you're able to define so many things. I can't believe it's the same Vansh, sitting in front of me, speaking about his journey with such ease, right? Because you've not had easy days.
Yes, that's right.
And can I know what What are the sort of failures that came during this entire phase as a young entrepreneur?
Okay. So I'll separate that young entrepreneur. It's just young or old doesn't matter. It's failures for everyone. So अगर मैं बोलने जाऊँ तो failures are like every day, every week failures. But I'll talk about some biggest failures that I had was, for example, I'll start with small failures. So if you see this packet, so this packet was supposed to be this much, to be very honest. It was about to be like very convenient, you can carry it anywhere, and this was the thing we ordered. Because this has an element, our thesis was this would give an experience of opening a packet, engaging more time with the consumer, like you have a look at the product and everything. Earlier it was this, so the problem in this was, this thing is different, but the problem was not in this but actually in this. So we gave the order in February for this small size and this small size with a different quality, different color and different grade. That we took trials, and that trials didn't came up to the mark, and we actually gave the order for this also on the same size, because we were promised that we will give the same size.
Oh God.
And that turned out to be this big, then this wide, then this big, and finally it came up to this. After 7 months of PO, they delivered us. So if this packet is this big, we have to have this big box to fold it. So this was the failure in packaging. Now, if you consider this as a failure, in this failure part, it's just thinking like filling the blocks and blanks in space and just expecting that this would work. It's just the part of the entrepreneurial journey. This was like a very small failure. Like what we did was कि यार packaging में failure आ गया. The biggest failure till date was when we did our lab trials and everything. The taste I personally tasted turned out to be so good that I thought this is the right product that we should go on, because caffeine is very bitter in nature. We have to make it tasty, and the taste is the first perspective. Till 2.5 years journey, we did over 250 trials easily, and in that trials, the last trial came out to be super good. And that super good trial was, I was expecting to be in a commercial level, but when we did the commercial level and when I was on the ground, when we were manufacturing it, that day was the worst day I could ever experience in my life, because when I tasted the sample that was made, that didn't turn out to be that good.
Correct.
It didn't even match my expectations, because I know personally that I've tasted much better. We can do it better. And that was like very neck to neck situation where we had to launch in next 7 days, and the product came like this. And if we fight with the manufacturers, again 4 months are wasted.
Yeah.
So we don't have time for doing it. So that was the biggest failure, and that failure led to a learning कि whatever you do, it's about people and communication. Then we got to the problem. What was the problem was, because you are the chief formulator, you know something else, you messaged it to me, you communicated it to me, I communicated different one in different language, they thought something else. So they added the flavor when that was added to be first, they added it in last. And what was added to be last, they added it in first. So this was the whole process. That was the biggest failure, where we did the lab trials commercial, this thing never worked. Because that failure I'm still bearing the cost to, because whenever we are in this passionate about making something, whenever we go to event and make the person taste, 50% of them front of my face, when they take the mint and they put it on their mouth, they directly spit it. So they directly spit it, and my videographer looks like this, Vansh, kya ho raha hai? So one day we'll win. It's just let this go through. But on effectiveness, everyone said that this is 100% very good. This was the biggest failure on the batch manufacturing. So that came out to only one learning, that communicating well and giving a brief. Because whenever you give a brief, you just consider, people underestimate this. Whenever you give a brief, you just give a brief like, this is what I want, and expect the person to catch up with your expectations. So that doesn't work, and that leads to a conflict or lack of the quality that you expect. So giving a brief, a strong brief with every possible outcomes and possible failures, that helps to go that work in a smooth flow. So that was the learning.
So one of the interesting things that you said out of, in fact, the CTPIR thing only, interestingly, you're saying that, see, trust is very important, and you overtly trust most times. And you're also someone who ends up feeling that तू डेवलप बहुत करता है, राइट? तो लीडरशिप है, यू विल सिट एक्सप्लेन थिंग्स टू पीपल, बट ऑल्सो एक्सपेक्ट दैट द अदर पर्सन हैज अंडरस्टूड एवरीथिंग. एंड इफ यू एक्चुअली मैच्ड इट टू द फैक्ट दैट बस एक ही चीज़ 10 बार बोल के उसको अच्छे से कम्युनिकेट करना बहुत ज़रूरी है. दैट इज़ द ओनली वे यू कैन गेट ओवर वॉट एवर इज बिकॉज योर इज ऑल्सो वेरी टेक्निकल सॉर्ट ऑफ. इट्स नॉट लाइक कुछ बना दिया और बेच डाला, राइट? सो इट्स अ लॉट ऑफ टेक्निकलिटी. सो आई थिंक फॉर यू it's beautiful that you realize that if you communicate better, your failures will be smaller.
Yes. So and this young age, ma'am, also to the viewers and also to all the listeners, at this age, ma'am, there's one small thing that every time we would misspell or what you say that I'm not getting that word. In this young age, almost every founder would miscommunicate or misunderstand the difference between intent and commitment.
Correct.
So the intent as this age would expect the commitment what we have give, but those are two very different things, and that actually solves the problem.
Correct. So with your age, with failure, with self-doubt, how do you deal with all of this?
So in this only process when I developed the products and this uncertain time has made me grow very exponential limit, on a very exponential limit, because we are always out of cash. I'll tell about the challenges. Should I mention about the challenges? I'll tell about the challenges when we were there. The first challenge was not finding the manufacturer, because it's not that easy that you call, you get, for example, protein powder. It's so cheap. 1 kg, 20 kilo low, you pack it up and sell. It's that easy to start a protein brand, also a supplement brand. But in our thing, the person who makes the product doesn't have the license, and person who doesn't know how to make the product have the license. And to fill that gap up, it's very IP fragile if we share with both of the parties.
Correct.
And in that process, when this guy makes, it doesn't stand up to the par, and the consumers who already have the confectioner's product has the expectation set by the confectioners, because confectioner add more sugar into it. That's not needed. The taste perceived, because for example in the challenges, this taste perseverance and the pricing perseverance in our industry, our main big problem is not to beat coffee or energy drink. Effectiveness, consumers are that smart that they feel they buy it. The main challenge is, for example, in this research, when I conducted like questionnaires with the event flows and the persons over there, ma'am, for example, what is a mint, ma'am? You would have a mint anyway.
Yeah, of course.
What is a mint?
A refreshing sort of a thing for yourself. Like,
that's the like a proper definition for that. My main problem was I was wondering everywhere like what to solve, and the main problem was when we were getting, what is a mint? Mint kya hai? Mint aaj tak is like, mint is misplaced by the word mint, flavor mint and the product mint, because mint is only consumed after smoking a cigarette for consumers, and impact mints forever. For example, if we go to the consumer and females buy it, and if you ask them what do you think, they don't buy it for mouth refreshment. They just have it like this. So that's an impulse buy, and they also don't know why they buy it. Okay. It's not a conversation starter anymore. It's a local product. They're known. So it's not so what it is. So our main challenge was fixing the message and conveying the product that this is not a mint. This is an energy mint. And also we were solving it, and that time we got to know लोगों को mint ही नहीं पता क्या है. क्योंकि वी वर गेटिंग लाइक इसको पानी में मिला के खाना है, इसको पानी के साथ लेके खाना है, इसको चबा के खाना है. बिकॉज कंज्यूमर हैज लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स इनसाइड देयर माइंड, वेरिएशंस, बिकॉज न्यू प्रोडक्ट्स, skeptics comes. So these all things were the challenges. Sourcing the raw materials, communicating with the people, and in this all things I understood how our neural network works. In this all failures I understood what so for example our caffeine was very bitter, ma'am. So we were thinking that there would be a sweetener or a bitter masking agent that would work with caffeine. But when the products came out, we tried, there should be a solution. So I have personally, like almost every country, I have contacted the vendors and manufacturers for flavors and caffeine. And everyone has the same answer, that it masks until a certain level, because it is made for beverages. No one has made it for a solid thing. Even if it is a solid thing, it needs a mass of at least minimum 30 grams. Our product is less than a gram, so it becomes very difficult to mask the taste. So that time we found a company in Germany. They sent us the sample, and they modified the caffeine itself, and the caffeine only was sweet. but that was a lakh rupee a kg. So how come I can make it? How come I can do it? Because unit economics betting in. So we found out a way. There's a guy in Vasai who does this, and same dupe we making in Vasai at less than 1/10 the cost. That's like less than 8,000 or 7,000 a kg.
Oh, nice.
So that's how we did it. So this was a challenge, and that opportunity we got only after the failure. If you would have asked us earlier, nahi pata
Nahi
tha.
pata.
So failure led to the learnings, and that led to a solution. So in this all failures, whenever there are like things that you're doing, for example, a marketing strategy that you think that would work, if like a product expectation that would work, it is all related to dopamine, your own dopamine.
Correct.
It's your own dopamine. For example, when I was at a dopamine peak that the product is launching, and the product didn't expected the power that we were thinking. I got a huge dopamine crash. I got a super huge dopamine crash, and it was like the worst 3 days of my life. And after that failure, I learned that you should suppress your feelings. That time I became quiet, not sharing much,
Right.
not sharing much, and not just openly portraying your goals and plans. It's just that time I got to learn that these are the do's and don'ts that you don't do. And in this pressure, it's only come back to your own way. It's like how you handle yourself. Because at times of need, no one would come. Even if you are directed, if you are given every resource, final call is yours.
Okay.
Final decision is yours. And that final decision, if you want to make a bad decision, ask hundreds of people, then you make a bad decision. But you have to listen to your inner self. There's an inner self that I believe that you should talk to, because there is someone who handles, and there is something that helps, that I don't know what exactly it is. Those are energies or this thing. But if you think well, if you think only positive and just take actions, because things are not into our control.
Yeah.
If you think you'll build it, there would be 100 challenges, and that won't happen. So you can't control the success outcome. It's just you can only work towards it day and night, only after being failed. And that failure leads to a dopamine crash, and that time you understand how to handle with your brain and emotions. That leads to emotions. So value is equal to change of state of emotion.
What would you call this the biggest learning from energy?
Yes.
As a brand.
Yes.
Yeah?
Things are out of control.
It's not, nothing is in your
Nothing
control.
is in your
honestly.
control. If I go run behind it, as much as I run, as much as far it would go away. So you should run for sure. You should run after it, but you have to figure a way out. There's no structured data or something. But I don't know about different industries, but for us, yes, there's no data. We have to create our own path. It's just that thing.
No, ironically, like that, you're speaking also, Vansh. One thing you realize is that there's a lot of noise around you. People are saying, nahi chalega. People are spitting your gum out. And often I'll also go through this phase where everybody and everything, nothing is working.
Yeah.
So one thing that I think probably I resonate with you is put your head down and work. Because that's the only way to get to where you have to, because all of this can keep happening, but I think your focus should be on working hard.
Yes, 110%.
So there's no shortcut. I'm asking you.
I don't know if it may work. It can be called as a shortcut, but I don't know as such shortcut. But if it works, so do it. So I don't have any problem. But I don't know, if you run the wrong way, run a long way up, it would help you more on a longer run, man.
I think shortcuts don't work.
Yeah.
They work for a short run.
yes, it only
But
works for a
if
short.
you want a long play, you'll have to sort of work day in and out to make sure that you're hitting goal after goal to get where you want to be.
Because Midas has also taught me one thing, to be a cockroach. So being a cockroach is just, we were also thinking like, what is a cockroach? So cockroach is cockroach is the only thing that also survives a nuclear war.
Correct.
And it survives. The matter is it survives. It doesn't do anything, but it survives.
Correct.
So we have to be like that. We have to be a cockroach in this thing, that we should survive like almost like दुनिया भी फट जाए तो we are there.
Correct.
So this is the thing that we should survive from every circumstances.
Brilliant. I want to finally ask you, this is something that I want to wind up with. What advice would you give the young founders of today who are out there? And I want to phrase that question very beautifully, because Arjun Vaidya was here and he did his podcast, and I definitely said you have to meet Vansh. So he spent 5-10 minutes with you, and when he got out of the room, the first thing he said to me was, He's the poster boy for Midas. And that's why I want to ask you. And once you have no idea, in class, in random conversations, we all mention you. And that's why I wanted these boys and girls to be a part of this conversation today. Because everything you just said is what we want them to do.
Yeah.
And it's not like तुझे मार मार के हमने करवाया है, कभी नहीं बोला है, बस बोला है तू कर रहा था. And your decision making skills, your self awareness, your way to move forward no matter what, it's just brilliant. So I want to understand from you as a young entrepreneur. I'm going to mention young because you are young and you've used it to your advantage, but there aren't many who are.
Yes.
And what would the right advice from your end go to them? Because for me, you are the tick on everything that entrepreneurship means. And it's, I mean, I don't know where I'm going to find another Vansh in my life, right, to do all of this. So think about what you would say to every entrepreneur out there who's listening to you. And what is probably the things that come to your mind when you think of somebody starting their journey?
Yeah. So the only two things that I would say over here is, ma'am, I can't give a structured answer because there's no framework. Because people do believe that there's a framework to work on and there's no framework. For me, what worked was being curious always. Being curious always. If you don't be curious, you won't learn. And if you won't learn, you'll not grow. Because there's only a space of learning and learning, because this phase would go, it would break you, it would make you learn, it would make you learn, and then again you will do the same mistake, and then also you'll learn. So this is the thing, that be curious, be besharam to ask help to, and be besharam to ask help, and never underestimate your age to the outcomes that you portray. Because if I could have done that, I could have still into the lab and making the product, not into the market. My only message to the young entrepreneurs would be curious, be besharam to ask help to, and thirdly, I would say is learn how to manage people. Because at the end, all the business, everything is based on a human touch, and a human touch always matters. Because if you don't know how to persuade the person, you can't do the job.
Correct.
And persuasion का meaning ही वही है कि it's just making the person right at your point and do that work for you. So persuasion is the number one skill that everyone should learn. It would only come after practice and only come after talking to people.
Correct.
Third, being besharam to ask help to. Just call your random friend, ask them help, because no one would judge, because we think that what people would think, and people don't really care about. Fourth would be focus on your goals, focus on what you think, because you will create your own path. You don't have to have a 5-year big vision. You just need to know what to do next week.
Correct.
What to do next week, because if you calculate that 5-year vision into a week, that won't be practical at all. So you should know what to do the next week, and always show up even when you are tired, even when you are out of your energy. You should be showing up for that, because these boring things, or every day going to office, or else sitting at your laptop just researching, talking to this, taking updates, this is the thing that would help you grow and help you learn. So these are the 5 things that I would say to every young entrepreneur, because there is no right time. If you wait for the right time, and for right time nowadays, D2C consumers, D2C startup founders say, when a bigger like a player would come into the market, they would disrupt it, they would create a category. So I don't think that is entrepreneurship, that's a participation into the market. And I genuinely don't want to be that kind of person. If you want to earn quick buck through that trend, good for you, go ahead. But if you want to make a sustainable business, so you should create something of your own, and that own would come with lot of cost.
Yes.
Cost of your personal life, because after launching your brand, it's not just a brand, it's your identity now.
Mm-hmm.
So people would directly or indirectly judge you according to the brand. So be ready to kill all your anxiety, all your insecurities to be in person. Because if you don't kill it, the opportunity won't come. So you have to be on point, like fuck all your insecurities. Absolutely. And do your best. Just do your best at whatever you do. People will laugh. people will tell a lot, because even if I could be sitting here, people would have said, this guy is here today. If I couldn't be here, also they would say that this guy didn't made it up to the podcast.
Yeah.
So at this young age, so there are two things. Like for example, if a person comes to you, so they would have said, if you win, they'll praise you that this framework worked. But if you fail, they would have gave their own gyan. So it comes either ways. You should have known more, or what you can do. You were such a young age.
Correct.
So these both things come. These both things come along the way. So people will throw their insecurities and throw their assumptions on you. You just close your ears, listen to your own voice, and create your own steps. If you fail, you only have to get up. No, do not expect with anyone at the time of like problem that this person would come and fix me up. That's the biggest no for me, because when you are there with yourself, that's the only thing would matter, and that's would make your journey more easy, I would say.
Wow, Vansh. I mean, I always knew you were a great orator, but this was the last bit of it is honestly very inspiring to hear from someone who has started an entrepreneurial journey with such phenomenal work that you've put in. And I mean, all we wish at Midas, and going through this journey with you, that you're one sought out entrepreneur that everybody wants to work with, and it's not long far. I mean, I can see that happen very soon. I know you'll be going on big platforms. The funniest moments that we've had has always been about you'll tell me कि मुझे ये opportunity मिल रही है, and I'm like, Vansh, she's like, हाँ मैं मिडास का बोलूँगा. So I think you're going to be there. You are going to make us proud, and I have honestly so many emotions that I've gone through just listening to you. I've enjoyed this conversation, but before we wind up, let's go for your rapid fire, which is the most fun part of what we do for our Insights with Midas. So, Vansh, are you ready?
Yes, I am. I'll try my best to answer
Be
in
quick.
one word. Yeah.
Okay, one word to describe you before you became a founder.
Curious.
One word to describe you as a founder of Energy.
Relentless.
Energy in one sentence.
Clean, fast-acting, innovative energy built for everyday performance.
Lovely. The problem Energy solves in one line.
Energy without sugar, crash, and inconvenience.
One habit that fuels your productivity.
Structured mornings.
A skill entrepreneurship forced you to learn fast.
Taking too long to say no.
Lovely. Midas taught you what in one word?
Direction.
A mindset you had to unlearn.
Perfectionist.
Your biggest founder fear.
Not catching up to the momentum.
Your proudest energy moment so far.
Arjun Vedda joined us, so that was the proudest moment for me.
Lovely. So you've signed the papers.
Yes, for sure.
Awesome. Congratulations. One mistake that shaped you as a founder.
Being overthinking.
Discipline or motivation.
Discipline followed by equal motivation, because you need something every day to go through.
Correct. Vision or execution.
Vision led by proper execution.
वाह तू बराबर बोल रहा है. Risk or comfort.
Risk every time.
One book, podcast or a person that influenced you.
So book named Focus, and podcast with Bombay Shaving Company Shantanu to Wreck It CEO.
I've seen that. It's really interesting.
Will be on the this year.
Done. Your biggest strength as a founder.
Relentless.
One weakness you're working on.
Overthinking.
Entrepreneurship feels like.
Climbing a 80-degree cliff with a bicycle.
Where do you see Energy in 5 years?
World's best renowned energy brand.
Lovely. One message to young aspiring entrepreneurs.
Be curious and be besharam to ask help too.
Amazing. Can we have a round of applause for Vansh?
Thanks.
Amazing. It's unbelievable, right? How young people can inspire you so much and you can learn so much from them. Today was one such day for me. Really having this interaction with Vansh, who I've seen through really falling, but yet always standing up with all the resilience, all the doubts that you would keep behind, and still want to work with focus on energy. Today is definitely a phenomenal moment for Midas because it's seen the growth of a young entrepreneur really make his mark in this world. I hope, wish, and definitely commend Vansh for all the amazing work he's doing. Congratulations to him and his entire team, and can't wait to see this brand growing and really doing well. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.